Welcome back to the Queen's Court. I am your lowly jester, the Tommy Thomas, here with all the news and information that I'm going to bring to you about the Queens of Combat tournament. This tournament will determine the first ever Queens of Combat champion, with round one taking place Saturday, June the 13th at the CWF Sportatorium in Gibsonville, North Carolina. The next night will be round two, Sunday, June the 14th at Ziggy's in Winston Salem. The semifinals and the finals of this historic tournament will take place in November. For more information about all the dates and other merchandise for Queens of Combat, please visit combatqueens.com and follow us on Twitter at Queens of Combat. Every week on the Queen's Court, we focus on a combatant in this historic 16-woman tournament. This week will be no exception, as we put the spotlight on a woman that is completely and utterly insane. A woman who is so out there that her name actually has crazy in it. We now focus on Crazy Mary Dobson.
I do want to talk about hardcore wrestling with you, because you were such a huge fan of it, and you did and have done quite a bit of it.
Yes.
Which is not, you know, a usual thing for a female wrestler. Most girls want to be pretty, or they just want to be tough. Hardcore wrestling is a completely different thing. It actually has its own psychology. And for a while, I think people really just thought that's all you were about. Like, oh, that's the girl who does death matches. Yeah. Oh, that's that girl who will staple something to her head. That girl bleeds. You know what I mean?
Yes.
What is it like to have people kind of pigeonhole you into one kind of wrestling when that's not exactly who you are? You know.
Well, it all started when I approached Pondo by getting trained. I was like, dude, I want to be a hardcore wrestler. I'm going to be the female Madman Pondo. And at the time, it was cool because Pondo knew that was going to give me a name. That was what made me different. Like, I don't look like an oddity. I'm average height. I'm just brown hair, I'm average as it gets, right? So, yeah, I knew that was what was gonna like set me apart, and so I started doing the hardcore thing. And I learned from the best. Like, who better to learn hardcore wrestling than from Madman Pondo?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
And I mean, hardcore. I love hardcore wrestling. I've been taking around the world. I've done hardcore matches in Germany, Mexico, England, Scotland. I mean, it's really taken me, where since there's not a big market for girls hardcore wrestling, it's like, well, there's that one. Let's bring it on over. So, but I did start noticing that people just thought I was a hardcore wrestler. And Pondo, he even admitted, he was like, I didn't know you were going to become the wrestler you were going to become, or I wouldn't have even let you do hardcore. Unless I went international, that's when I kind of stopped doing death matches, because Pondo saw the wrestler I was becoming, and he's like, I'm not going to let, some scars deter people from wanting to book you, So, especially when it comes to like WWE, things like that, where girls' looks are important.
She might have talked about being hardcore, but she's also a solid technical wrestler. Let's take a look at some of her in-ring action. After seeing that action, I'm genuinely fearful for Crazy Mary's first round opponent, the beautiful Solo Darling. That's all the time we have for you today, folks. For more information regarding round one, which will take place Saturday, June the 13th at the CWF Sportatorium in Gibsonville, as well as round two, which will take place Sunday, June the 14th at Ziggy's in Winston-Salem, please check out combatqueens.com. Don't forget, though, for the day-to-day information, visit us on Twitter at Queens of Combat. I'm the Tommy Thomas. we'll see you next week.